off with that.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. And first of all, forgiveness is about energy.
Yeah.
It is about energy because for you to be able to find yourself in a space of peace and just having a proper thought process is you have to learn to let go. And letting go is not just about not acknowledging the other person's mistake. It's about you relieving yourself from the burden of having to carry the resentment. Thank you.
Letting go, when you say it's easy, okay, you say we let go, yeah?
Yes.
It's easier said than done.
Absolutely.
So how do we do it?
It is first of all learning that you holding on to that anger, what does it do to you? Because most often than not, the power of not forgiving is you being able to give the other person the power to control your emotions. Because then that means you will be having outbursts, you will be in a space of holding a lot of negative energy and being resentful. And that, unfortunately, is what you will be projecting in each and every situation you find yourself in. So letting go sounds like a difficult thing to do, but it's the best thing you can be able to do for yourself. Just to be able to have that peace of mind, not favoring the other person, but mostly you protecting your inner peace.
Okay.
Yes.
Ziwa, good morning and happy Valentine's. You started with that one. All right. Talk to us about the psychological stages of forgiveness.
I think it's one thing to take cognizance that any one of us at any one time, that you're going through a hurt, a woundedness, a pain, a trauma, and either cause of someone else or a self-inflicted wound of your own. And it's too subtle that when you're going through life, when you are hurt, it's a place where we say that time heals all things. And it's a lie. If it were true, you just walk into a medical hospital and just sit there and spend some time there and walk away without paying any bill. It does not heal. It's good to take note that you're hurting, you're in pain, either as a result of people who have wounded and hurt you, or as a process of engaging relationships, whether at work or home. And I think some pains are more deeper than we see, but the one that I would want place emphasis on is a heart that comes from home. People who are closer to you. It goes deeper than we readily acknowledge in life. And it's time to heal ourselves. And the only way to heal yourself is to acknowledge the pain, because you cannot heal what you do not acknowledge. Number 2 is to identify the person who has hurt you. And number 3 is to verbalize it and say, I forgive and let go, like my friend has said. Because if you don't let go, you're waiting to be hurt twice. Because of time, the people who have hurt you, they don't even recognize they hurt you. So in an attempt to trying to convince people that you hurt me, and like, when? You're waiting for another pain. Though of time, what we're looking for is someone to just take cognizance of the pain you're carrying for a pretty long period. Just to bring you into a place of where you say, I place a value on you to recognize that you're hurting and you're wounded and you're carrying some trauma. Someone might not have acknowledged it, but I want to acknowledge it and give yourself an opportunity to heal yourself.
So we have 3 stages of forgiveness, psychological stages. Amazing. Dennis, I just want to come now to you with that comment from, of course, Ziwa. Let go. Ziwa and Judy, they've mentioned let go. Do you think it's an easy thing to do?
Thank you for having me again. Is it easy to let go, really? No, because I've been here several years now, managing expectations. See, so you find that one of the things that happens is if something goes opposite of what you had expected, first of all, there's that aspect of hope that you had. You know, this person is close to me in a certain respect, and I don't expect them to do A, B, C, D, you know, but they ended up doing it. So first of all, you find that as human beings, we are learning organisms. We live by learning. And one of the methods in which we learn is reinforcement, you know. So for me to be able to forgive myself, first of all, for giving someone a chance, you know, and sitting down and saying that simply because I believed in you and you disappointed me. For some, that is problematic because it's a lesson we pick. Number two, look at cases where we are not perfect as human beings, and trust is a tower made of glass. Takes forever to build, but seconds to destroy.
Yeah.
So when we are letting go, and we have something we have built, we had a certain commitment we had made. If it's a relationship or any human interaction, we had a commitment. How are we supposed to keep that commitment going? Yet this tower has already crumbled.
All right. Neston, what is your personal boundary? You're Neston, right?
Yeah.
Great. What is your personal boundary when it comes to forgiveness?
Personal boundary. I think one of the things you also have to look at is the extent of what people, I'm giving them space to get into my space. So one of the things that should be very, constant is let them know your boundaries. For example, I do not, when I'm in pain, I do not want you to come every time to me and tell me, let's talk. I want to get time fast. I want to get to heal. And then ideally, I can be able to now say, okay, now let's talk about this. So respecting, that my boundary ideally creates even that type of forgiveness. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you could start with just introduce yourself and tell us your boundaries when it comes to forgiveness.
Thank you so much. I'm Hilda Nyatichi. I'm a student leader from Kiriri Women University. And as for the topic of today, I can say, as for me, boundaries is the key. Because if you've wronged me, I really need to know, why did you do this?
Yeah.
And if I had trusted you and the relationship that we had. So if you are just a mutual friend, if we share something in common and you've hurt me, I will see it in two ways. First, what is the end product of our friendship like? Is it beneficial? If it's not, then that's where my boundaries reach. I'll not forgive you, or if I forgive you, I'll forgive you, but we will not move on any further. But if it's something beneficial, at the end of the day, I'll forgive you, and boundaries will definitely have to change, because at the end of the day, I need to protect myself, my inner peace of mind. Thank you.
So you'd rather hold on to resentment?
Yeah, I rather hold on because I don't want it to repeat itself. Or I can forgive, yes, but you go forever. Don't ever come back in my life again.
Judy, I would love for you to address that.
Wow. Your feelings are valid, and rightly so, because the art of forgiveness, really, when you let go, is you release that energy. And what I like to tell people is we need to learn the power of detachment. Why we get hurt most often than not is because we put too much expectations on other people. When we have friendships, is we expect that our friends will treat us the way we treat them. It doesn't work that way, because the same energy, the same perception you have in life is limited to how you've grown up. It is limited to where you're coming from. It is limited to your experiences in life. Now, it doesn't apply to the other person, because sometimes, and this I like to tell a lot of people, that when you get into relationships, friendships or intimacy, is you will not get the same level of energy you give. Why? Because in fact, I think 95% of the time, and Ziwa will correct me if I'm wrong, you cannot love the other person the same way they love you. You cannot care for someone the same way they care for you, including our family members. So what happens is we put too much expectation on other people, and we expect them to reciprocate the same energy we give. Now, when you don't forgive, is you harbor resentment, and that energy stays with you. You might not be able to see that person again. You might not even have a relationship with them again. But the moment you get to see them, or you're in the same space, what you will do is even your body language will communicate the resentment, the anger. And that means you have really not moved past it. And why I like talking about letting go is a journey, it's a process. You keep talking to yourself, you keep working on yourself, and you working on yourself means you understand what can be able to work within the boundaries that you've set, and understanding that not everyone can reciprocate that. So when you understand that you do not have to receive the same energy you're giving, then it becomes easy for you to find peace. Yes.
And you know, Dennis is very happy when you talk about managing expectations. I can see him nodding.
Yes.
But Ziwa, what does now resentment do to the brain when we hold on to it for so long?
You know, the brain, you're talking of your will, your mind, and your emotions.
Yeah.
The things you can't ignore. That every negative scripting you hold has a way it colors the way you view the world around you. And if you hold on too dear for too long for pain, it will affect every social fabric around you. I would place emphasis that forgiveness is not a one-time act. It's a permanent attitude you host for every relationship around you. Though it is critical to, like my friend has mentioned from Kiriri Women Leadership University, Kiriri, is that you need to draw some boundaries. And the reason why you draw some boundaries is for self-preservation. Because I might not necessarily stop some birds flying over my head, but I can stop them laying heads on my head. For one thing, if you invite me in a social forum, let me give a case in place. Let me say your mother-in-law and the husband, and your sibling or your uncle, every time I come by, they get to entertain themselves and they get heightened up with emotions when they're drinking, and they say very painful things. They might not even be drinking, but every time I come, they say very traumatic, painful things that leave me wounded every time I come to the family gathering. So I forgive them. I say, so man, I forgive you. It's okay. Then you say, I didn't mean to hurt you. The next time you invite me, the same thing recurs. The third time you invite me, the same thing recurs. I think it's only incumbent on me to draw a boundary and say, I forgive you, but I will draw some boundary to this end. I'm not coming. Forgiveness does not mean there are no consequences to the choices or the things you did to me. You must suffer the consequences. I withdraw my presence, enjoy your social gathering, but I will not be there to be hurt again. So because that affects my mental fortitude and my ability to think well about the relationships I keep company with, because you're indivisible from the people you keep company with. So if you're always constantly with people who are toxic, negative around you, hurting you, wounding you, it's a self-inflicted wound. You took yourself there. So the best way you do it, draw some healthy boundaries around it.
Yeah. So the forgiving 77 times, it doesn't really make sense, Ziwa.
Forgive, but the consequences must be there.
Forgive 77 times, or the consequences will be there.
The consequences will be there. I like the way you quoted it, because we draw it from the subject of a religious paradigm. Jesus forgave, but the consequence of forgiving, he had to die for it. The consequence, he had to die. Even when you call out to go for help, oh my God, do not forsake me. He knew the consequence. It's true you'll invite me, but I can't ignore the fact that every time I've come to see you, I come out more hurt than happy. So that's a self-inflicted wound. I bring myself to your presence, and then you say the same hurtful, painful things, and I walk away nursing the pain. So it's not helping me. So the consequence and the choice is, let me withdraw my commitment to connect with you, because when I do, you hurt me. That means there are other alternative streams of help I can draw from. There are people who pour into my life and I feel excited to look forward to them. You know, I look forward to engaging with them. So let me go to those other relationships, and you cultivate those relationships vis-a-vis the other one that depletes you.
Quality over quantity. So, Thuranira, I want to come to you now. Creating these boundaries. Have you created boundaries before in your relationships?
Thank you for having me. Yes, of course. I've created boundaries before, and they basically stem from the fact that we are trying to protect ourselves. We are trying to ensure that our mental well-being is not damaged. So we have found myself creating creating boundaries that ensure that, for example, I will not allow a certain person to cross certain boundaries, especially, let's say, this person has crossed my boundaries before, and this situation is about to happen again, or there's a chance it might happen again. I'll definitely create boundaries based off previous experience, so that happening does not occur again in my relationships.
All right. Stay with us. We want to take a very short break at this point, but Colin, there is a number on your screen. When we come back, we are continuing this conversation on love and relationship, the power of forgiveness in relationships, when to let go and when to hold on. You're watching Morning Cafe.
Are you ready to elevate your business game?
As long as you're earning something, there's always that opportunity to save. And you start with where you are.
Kama wewe ni mfanyabiashara, huwezi kaa bure, unajipanga taratibu vile inavyofaa.
Join us each week as we dive into the stories of the world's most driven entrepreneurs.
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
The Grind, where business meets brilliance. Tune in every Monday at 7:30 p.m. because your business deserves the best.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in? I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination.
All right, welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe. It's Relationship Wednesday. Thank you for staying with us. Interact with us on our social media platforms. We are on Facebook and YouTube at TV47 Kenya. We'll be sure to read those comments. And we have some already coming in. I'll just start with Kenneth. And he says, my question goes to Judith. What happens when you are in a relationship and you're going through cycles of forgiveness?
Kenneth, thank you very much for that question. Number one is we teach people how to treat us. When you allow people to walk all over you, they will keep doing it without shame. It's like when you give, the takers don't have shame. They will continue taking until you stop. So for me, the art of forgiveness is you need to cut the cycle, because why are you entertaining that continuous cycle of forgiveness? That means this person does not respect your boundary. This person does not respect your feelings. This person doesn't care about how you feel or how you think. So what you do is, again, as Ziwa has said, you need to withdraw your presence, because sometimes when you remove yourself from certain situations, people recognize, oh, so they can actually walk away, they can leave. You need to learn to walk away from situations that no longer serve you, because forgiveness doesn't mean that you don't have common sense. You know, you forgive, but please use your senses. When someone continues to hurt you over and over, sometimes you have to walk away. You forgive, let go. Because again, I keep talking about the art of detachment. When you detach yourself from certain situations, is you remove your emotions from it so that you can start using your critical thinking. Walk away. Forgive, but walk away.
So that is the point where now he needs to let go, and it becomes a cycle
Yes.
that keeps coming up.
Yes, and the cycle is because of disrespect. Let me tell you, we are creatures of habits, and we learn. It's like a cat or a dog. They know where they are wanted, and they know where they are not wanted. And I'm sorry to use that as an example. It's because they're the most friendliest creatures, and they can be able to feel the energy. So as a human being, when you tolerate so much nonsense, is people start disrespecting you, and they think that it's okay to walk all over you. So they will keep doing the same thing, because at the back of their minds, they know you do not have the capacity to walk away.
All right.
Yes.
Amazing. I hope Kenneth is satisfied with that answer. Kimani, good morning. Last week when we were here, we were talking about closure. And it really fueled a lot of discussions here. And that took kufika the solution, because some were saying closure is a no, while some are saying closure is okay.
Yeah.
What do you think about closure when it comes to now forgiveness? Does it facilitate it, or does it now, inasema hapana, I cannot forgive you because you did 1, 2, 3?
First of all, thank you for having me here. In this generation, closure is very relative.
Be audible, please.
In this generation, closure is something very relative. But personally, I believe that having that opportunity for closure is something good, because from there, it's now where you're able to move on. Because as long as you still hold on to something, be it hurtings, there's no way you're going to move on from it.
Yeah.
But having an aspect of closure will help you recover and also move on from that point.
All right. Emmanuel, what do you think of closure? Oh, that is Matthew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matthew Samuel. Yeah. So the first question that should be asked is this person that you are holding on, is she or he holding on to you? Yeah. Before, if I make the decision for the closure, when I'm the one that is giving in more than I'm receiving, that one I think is much peaceful with me. That decision is the wisest decision.
Yeah.
But the moment you come to the conclusion of a closure, when the other person is giving in more than you giving in, that's where now the pain and deprivedness is coming in, because the moment you realize that you are hurting someone and you are doing it deliberately, but you are doing it over the selfish decision of the situation, that's where we cause a lot of pain and inflicting, and you've reached to the level whereby they say, oh, men are dogs, oh, men are this way, because at the same time, all this just come from the minor things. So I agree with closure, but to which extent? If the person that you're coming to the decision of a closure, you are giving more than they give, that's okay, because you're protecting yourself, you're protecting your mental health, your head, your heart, and your everything.
Yeah. Ziwa, sometimes we do these closures to after the breakups, right? To just say, no, we are done, but you did 1, 2, 3 to hurt me. Is that the case?
I'll use my own case in point. We do not live indivisible of the people we keep company with. I know of specific individuals in my past and some in my present, that every time I was with them, there are those who really rub me the wrong way. And they left a bitter, metallic feeling in my teeth that I would restrain myself to talk back to them. And the reason I would restrain myself to talk back to them, because there's a law of reciprocity, if you remember in physics, to every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. There's always a potential within us to do the worst to other people, just like they're doing it to you. But if you learn how to restrain yourself, you choose you. You choose you, not just the other people. Even in falling in love, yes, there are people there's a couple of people I fell in love with down the line. But I remember quite correctly why I chose me. I place a higher premium on me. And I say, I'm of a far greater worth that I'm being appreciated in this relationship. So I walk away. The closure is not about the other person. The closure is with me. Take cognizance that you deserve to be loved, you're worth loving, and you're worthy. The trouble is for you not to acknowledge that you're worthy. The moment you acknowledge, I am worthy, that changes everything. So you place a value on you, not so much of what has been happening in the past relationships. Those people are fine. And most likely they'll find someone who matches their energy, like she has said. You are worthy. Walk away. Have closure on you engaging with some of those kind of relationships.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. You'll be hilariously happy. And you attract something close to what you are.
All right, Sandra? All right. So you see, Hilda talked about, when we were talking about the boundaries that she's been able to create, she was telling us that she's resentful when something is done to her that doesn't sit well with her. And she mentioned something about, why did you do that to me? And that is what you're talking about, this closure, you know? So do you think it builds resentment, closure itself, or it facilitates forgiveness?
Okay, thank you for that question. For me, I think it builds resentment because first, you said that I want to get an understanding.
Yeah.
Why did you do this to me? I trusted you. Like, I didn't expect you to do this for me. I didn't expect you to hurt my feelings. I told you everything about me. You know me quite well. So, closure, when it comes to closure, it's like a emotional resolution.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I think, it builds resentment.
Okay. You think it builds resentment? Emmanuel, would you say the same thing about closure?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here in the studio. I'm such humble. So to me, closure actually, it results into resentment because even as we look about the compatibility of relationship, it must be within the mutual, it must be built on fundamental of respect. So when someone, maybe toxic or may go astray, you see, even as let us use an example of a school, it has what we call the rules or the core values that guide it to make sure that any person or any person has the right or know the boundary where to reach. You cannot, skip the school compound. It is prohibited. So at least you must learn to have respect to one another. Yeah, so when it reaches at that point of closure, then it means it is a resentment you're making within yourself, and also you are relieving your pain within you. Thank you so much.
Would you say the same thing, Regina, about closure?
Thank you so much for having me. I don't really believe in closure. I think the forgiveness itself should be closure enough, because going back for closure really is giving the other person power to give you, to make you know what you're going to do next. And it's not, doesn't have to be like that. You can just choose to forgive and leave the situation if it's not serving you anymore. And that's that. So closure is...
It's a no for you.
No.
Judy, is it always that bad? Closure.
First of all, I think it's the intention. You see, when you're seeking closure, what is it that you're looking for exactly? Because most often than not is we want the other person to recognize that they hurt us, and we want them to acknowledge that. Most of the time they don't. And this is the thing we need to understand about human beings, is because there's the aspect of narcissism, there is the aspect of just arrogance, and then there's the aspect of pure ignorance. There are people who don't even recognize they have hurt you. And when you seek that closure, is what are you looking for exactly? Because I usually tell people, when you've made a conscious decision to understand who you are as a person, when you know your self-worth, sometimes you don't need the other person to recognize that. Is you just walk away. Why you do that is because you understanding yourself, and why I usually like encouraging people to work on yourself is you need to understand your strengths. You need to understand what it is that you stand for, because you project what you're full of. If you do not have confidence, most of the time when you see someone else exuding it, the first thing that will come to your mind is they're bragging, they're arrogant. Now, when you work on yourself and you are self-aware, is you do not care what happens around you, because you are complete within yourself. And understanding that is a very powerful thing, because one thing I've noted is even for the friendships that I've lost over the years, is when you don't respond most of the time, people think you're rude. But do you really have to? You don't. You don't, because when you want to protect your peace is sometimes you remove yourself from those situations. You do not have to go and tell someone you hurt me and I want you to accept and say that you hurt me. You do not need to do that. You need to recognize that you are much more than that. And when you put yourself on a higher pedestal, you do not put expectations on other people. Set the standards for yourself so that you do not have to feel insulted or hurt by what other people do. Yes.
So the work comes from within.
Yes. You project what is inside you. Now, for example, when people go through divorce, most of the time is the hurt party is they want that other person to feel the same pain. They cannot. They cannot even fathom what you're going through. And the thing with that is you continue hurting yourself when you want that other person to validate you. So put yourself first. And when you do that is look at the mirror. I try to tell people, talk to yourself every day. Remind that person that you see on that other side, that you're good enough, that you're worthy, that you are enough, that you are call yourself whatever you want, because you are exactly who you think you are. Yes.
All right, Ziwa, you wanted to...
Just wanted to add a little bit.
Yes.
Like she's said, you can't give what you do not have. Though I want also to see how I can complement or add something to what she said. She said...
To Regina's comment?
Yes, Regina's comment. Because you can't ignore the need for closure also. If you took note of what happened in Rwanda in the post-genocide, they needed people to come to a place of closure. If you go to South Africa, the people who are hurt in the racial war, they needed some measure of closure. If you go to the Jews alongside with the Germans, they were hurt, they were killed in millions. They needed a sense of closure. Also, the same is true in our relationships. You can't ignore certain things. There are people who have hurt you and they have faces and they have a name to it. You need to identify a time and a place where you come to that a sitting which is not interrupted. If it is a spouse, if it is extended family members, if it's a colleague, you sit down, not so much for the other person, for you. And that person has a name. Call them out, set an appointment. Set an opportunity to talk to them. If they don't come, find a counselor who can help you in that journey so that you can let that out and name that person. Oft time we tell them, write the name of the person down. Then two, acknowledge what they have done to hurt you. You can't change what you do not acknowledge. So identify the motive thing that has wounded and brought too much hurt and trauma. Even if it's dates so back in your past, an uncle who has raped you or someone who took advantage of you, took family land and property and assets, whatever it is, identify that particular subject of hurt and pain that requires you to forgive. Then lastly, go ahead and face it and tell them how it made you feel and how you're going through it, how it has wounded you, messed up relationships around you. Because someone who was raped in a time when they're children or they're young, it affects their relationship and their responses to stimulus of love. Even when they're married, they'll find it hard to engage in sexual union with their spouses because of a hurt they've never been able to acknowledge, and the person who did it to them, they did not spot out or talk to. So having closure helps you to recover you from you. Choose you at all times. I hope that helps.
That is very well said. Now, Judy, you know, when we have heard from Ziwa himself even, and from some of the panelists, they're talking about they forgive, but they don't forgive, you know?
Yes.
And now what happens to somebody who forgives but still hold on to this resentment?
You don't forget.
Is that forgiveness or emotional separation?
Let me tell you, it's like you drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. Like, really. It's the thing about forgiveness is, again, like Ziwa has said, it is not for the other person. It is for you.
Yeah.
And I want to use a friend of mine as an example, because when her marriage failed, she held on to that anger for so long that when she remarried, it affected the new relationship. Why? Is because she had not let go of that anger. She had not forgiven. And forgiving the other person, really, I keep saying, it is not for them. It is mostly for you. And I like using that analogy of poison. You know, you cannot be drinking rat and rat and you're praying it kills Judy. It will not work like that. So what you do is, as he has said, acknowledge where you're hurt, how you're hurt, talk about it if you must, get therapy. If you cannot be able to address that person, get therapy, talk to someone, because you really need to let it go. You need to let it out. And once you acknowledge that, once you realize the hurt, the pain that it, put you through, then you can be able to heal the trauma. You can start the journey of walking forward. Because if you go through, for example, if someone physically assaults you, every time you're in the presence of that person, you will fidget, you will feel some type of way. So until and unless you address that, you will never be able to move past it. You will always have that thing behind your mind, and that is what causes trauma.
Yeah.
So you will keep bleeding on other people who never hurt you, because every of your relationship will end up being hurt because of the traumas you've not addressed. So forgiveness really is you releasing that energy so that you can be free to move to the next stage in your life. And you need to learn to forget. Why I'm saying forgetting is because we carry so much burden in our hearts that we keep projecting it on every other relationship we get into. When you carry that, why I say you need to forgive and forget is really, and I don't like when people use the Bible as an excuse to be able to do certain things, but more importantly, it's you forgetting that this happened to me. This is a chapter in my life that happened, but I need to walk away. I need to let it go for me to be able to move on to the next stage in life. You see, your 20s cannot be the same as in your 30s. When you graduate, you grow, you learn new things, you meet new people. And I'm telling you, if you've met bad people, you have not seen the worst. You will keep meeting those people. And if you have not addressed what hurt you huku nyuma, you will keep projecting that on every other relationship, and you will keep seeing that image in each and every relationship you get into, and you will end up hurting other people, including yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you've talked about flashbacks that sometimes comes back.
Yeah.
Does that mean that this person having these flashbacks of pain, they haven't really forgiven or whoever hurt them?
No, you have not moved past it, because let me tell you, we call our pains by the name of the people that hurt us. And sometimes you will even find yourself saying, like Aziwa in 2002, he did it, or you will, even if you're telling your friends, you'll be like, I had a friend that used to do XYZ. It will keep coming in your conversations, because at the back of your subconsciously, you have not forgotten. And there is so much power in your subconscious mind. Feed your mind the energy that you want to keep projecting. Teach your mind to think about positive things. And when you think about that negative thing, breathe in, breathe out, and then remind yourself why that dark past, was not meant to be a part of your existing life. So keep talking to yourself, keep affirming to yourself first, because those affirmations really help us to work with our subconscious mind so that you move forward, you start forgetting the things that happened in your past. Because I'm sure there are things that happened to us when we were younger that sometimes you see and then you think, our mom used to beat us, or like we used to go through XYZ. But when you address those things, and it's a journey that you walk every single day. This is not something that you can do in a year. It's a continuous journey. You keep telling yourself that, yes, even the mistakes that you've made as a person, you keep telling yourself, I made these mistakes. Why did I make these mistakes? Now, you identify the why, then you can have a because. Then you keep moving forward. Yes.
Now, Zia, we are talking about people who've been hurt. But now what happens to the one who's hurt the other person? Yeah. Position yake ni gani?
That name that you keep on rehearsing and having private conversation without talking to them directly? It is important to address that need to reach out to the person and say, I'm sorry. Let me tell you, if you've been in love before and you're married, one of the things we dread so much in our union is when your spouse, your wife says, sweetheart, we need to talk. That's a cuss word. The reason why, there's some unresolved concern that makes me feel a certain way, and I don't like that feeling. We need to talk about it. The same is true in every relationship. If you're the cause and the effect of why someone is hurting, it's incumbent on you to be accountable. Accountable in the sense that you reach out to the person and tell them, hey, I did this or I said this with the intent to hurt. I am sorry. Or without the intent to hurt. Acknowledge it. It brings wholeness to relationship. If it's a colleague, you reach out and say, I'm sorry the way I said it. Or I'm sorry for not responding the way I should have responded. Take ownership of yourself in the sense that you become the summation of the people you keep around you. If the people around you constantly are hurt because of the things that you say, take note of what you're always saying around. If the people that you work with or you're in relationship with are hurt because of your lack of stimulus of response to them, they make certain requests and you don't reciprocate appropriately, take time and heal those relationships. You become better because of that kind of experience. If you're the one hurting people, watch out. They are going to reciprocate 10 times better. Yeah.
All right.
In fact, doubling down to what he's saying is when you're told by someone that you've hurt them, please listen. Be quick to listen and not very quick to respond. Because most of the time we get so defensive when we are on the wrong. We don't like being told that we are wrong. So it's good for you as a person to be accountable to yourself first and learn to listen. When someone tells you you've hurt them, please know that it comes from a place where they've taken time, they have processed their thoughts for them to be able to come to you to tell you that you've hurt them. So learn to listen.
Yeah, we'll come back to that point. But Dennis, let me start with Nestor. Do you think there's a limit to what should be forgiven in relationships?
Absolutely. Especially when you have repeated patterns. That is a limit. I think mostly they say you'll not read a book once, then read that book the same time and expect different results. And even, just get into the conversation of Ziwa, when the person who you've hurt, what you need to do is first, have you forgiven yourself? Have you recognized that, oh, actually I hurt that person, but have I forgiven myself that I hurt them for me to go and ask for forgiveness? Remember, you will not take away from an unfilled cup. So you have to forgive yourself to the brim and now say, now I'm ready to be able to give those, to extend forgiveness, not forgiveness really, but now extend an apology to those particular people. Yeah.
All right. Hilda, I want to pose that question to you. What can you and what can you not forgive in relationships?
Let me first say that there is nothing that can't be forgiven. We should acknowledge that no one is perfect. Nobody was born perfect. We all do make mistakes. So what can and what cannot be forgiven in a relationship depends.
It depends with whatever was done.
Yes.
And and they talk about cheating, you have betrayal. So it depends.
It depends because I'm looking at it from a mature perspective because we human beings tend to do things. Maybe you think that this other person may not feel offended. So, or maybe the other person knows you well, knows you that I know her weakness. I know if I do this, she may react. If I do this and I don't speak up, she may not react. So you as a person, you as a lady, if you are being hurt and you don't speak up, you keep on keeping it into yourself. You don't tell this person, no, this is wrong. I think it makes the other person get an advantage that so at the end of the day, it doesn't affect, so he keeps on doing it. But what cannot be forgiven, nothing can be forgiven. It's you as a person to know that, should I be going through this daily? Like, is it worth it? So I can say that everything can be forgiven, but for how long?
You don't want to be repeating cycles.
No.
Nice, wonderful. I love that. Sandra, do you agree okay, she says it depends. It depends with whatever has been done. But you're talking about cheating, yeah? Maybe your partner tells you, "Hey, na siku hizi umenona," you know? Is there a limit for you?
Yeah, there's some limits to forgiveness for me.
Yeah.
But first, I feel like when it comes to forgiveness, some people tend to treat forgiveness with ego. Some people tend to like take their ego first.
Yeah.
Now you'll find someone will be like, that's a petty issue for you to be mad or be angry.
Gaslighting.
So, yeah, exactly. Now you come to me and tell me that I wronged you or something. And then you expect me to like ask you for my forgiveness and everything. Then I'll be like, with my ego, I'll be like, I know that's a petty issue. But still, you never know how much that that small thing can really hurt someone. But the ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We've heard from the ladies, of course, and from Neston. But Danius, do you have a limit? I know nakwanga na very hypothetical situations, but do you?
Forgive?
Yes, a limit to forgiveness in relationships. And I also want to, ladies, we talked about anaambiwa maybe she's fat, for example. That one can make a lady very, very mad. Ama umwambie, mashavu yako siku hizi imeanza kukua kubwa. Ama umeanza kukonda. Some don't love that, okay? But nyinyi kama men, what do you think that we as ladies do that could be a limit for you when it comes to forgiveness?
Okay. I think for me, personally, because you said I have a lot of hypotheticals, and personally, it's all about repeating. I'm someone who hates repetition.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you did something once, anything. I'll be like, okay, I never told you. So from here, this was triceps. So from here now, we are in the main event. Okay. But the minute you repeat that, I stop listening, because at the end of the day, I told you. You are cognizant of the fact that if you do this, this is the outcome.
Yeah.
Okay? That is one. Two, I think it's also good to know the nature of the person, because people are not the same. No. There are people who are like rats. They bite and blow. They have one hell of a bite, but if they choose to blow, they'll blow you off the existence. No. And you find that other people are like snakes. No matter how much you tend to care about them, they'll still bite you eventually.
Yeah.
See? So the thing is, knowing this other person, their nature, are they capable of change? Number one. Is it someone who, if I sit down with and have a candid conversation with them that ABCD that you did not sit well with me, is this person capable of changing? Or is it that person who will keep stepping on you and telling you sorry to your face just to say that they apologized? See, so it's also good to be cognizant of the fact that people are different and know that as you approach them. Last week when you were talking about trauma, we had the guest said that we measure things from our own point of view. And personally, I think it's a good thing, where if I come to this relationship, I come knowing that I am this way and this way and that way.
Yeah.
And I do not expect you to be that.
Just hold on to that. We want to take this very, very short break. It's very short, by the way, so don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to elevate your business game.
As long as you're earning something, there's always that opportunity to save. And you start with where you are.
Kama wewe ni mfanyabiashara, huwezi kaa bure, unajipanga taratibu vile inavyofaa.
Join us each week as we dive into the stories of the world's most driven entrepreneurs.
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
The Grind, where business meets brilliance. Tune in every Monday at 7:30 p.m. because your business deserves the best.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in? I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special needs,
All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching Morning Cafe. We are talking matters relationship. And the question of the day is forgiveness really easy? After hurt or, how do we say it? Betrayal. After hurt or betrayal when it comes to relationships. Interact with us. Of course, there is a number on your screen. Call in. We'll be very happy to hear from you. And also send in your comments or questions on Facebook and YouTube at TV47 Kenya. And we have a comment here, and MC Abob says, creating boundaries isn't easy because of that love, my people. Judy.
We need to stop making excuses for the people we love and care for. The thing is, I keep saying you teach people how to treat you.
Yeah.
And setting boundaries has to be on the onset of every relationship. You need to be able to articulate your boundaries very clearly, what you can tolerate and what you cannot. And people must understand that when they cross the limit to which you can take, you are out the door. Let it be a non-negotiable. Because when you say that boundaries are hard, it's because you never put those boundaries clear. They were not clear from the beginning. So if you do not articulate your boundaries clearly from the beginning, people will tramp over your boundaries. And you know, now we are very good at saying, sorry, I'm so sorry, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even realize, I didn't know. It is very easy to say those things because we do not acknowledge that we have hurt someone and people are hurting because of our actions or inactions. So no, creating boundaries should not be easy. It is the easiest task to do in any relationship, be it work, be it personal, be it family. People need to know there are boundaries they can't cross. And you know, sometimes, especially our family members, like some of my siblings, like they just, you do things, they'll keep doing things until you snap, and then you do something radical and they're like, hey, you're overreacting, you're overdoing this. And the same thing with our friends, because when our friends get to know us, familiarity breeds contempt. Yeah. So when people come too close also, they start taking you for granted. So you need to have those boundaries very clear. When someone crosses your boundary, there has to be consequences.
Yes. Yeah. All right, we talked about it. I want to come to you, Kim. Do you have a limit to what you can take?
Yes, I do. Because I believe that if you have no limit, then you are open to anything that comes your way.
Yeah.
And as my predecessors have said, creating a boundary and showing it, or rather expressing it to people you relate with, more or less creates a room whereby you avoid them hurting you. And also, I'll give an example.
Yeah.
For example, when people are working, there are terms of relation. So if you keep it open, and as we've said, we're all different. I'll come with my beliefs. You'll come with your beliefs, and there'll be nothing that's bringing us together here. So personally, I do have limits to what I can take, because if I don't have limits, then I'll always be hurting at every time. Because if I've not expressed to you what my boundaries are, you'll be doing things according to how you feel is right. And if I don't sit well with them and I'm not saying it, I'll just be hurting from within. And at the end of the day, I'm the one who's not benefiting.
And you know, Matthew, they say that men don't forgive easily. Is it true? Like sahi mrembo akikukosea ni hivi. Ameharibu.
So I don't know if they are all men, but what I can say, I can forgive everything apart from I have not yet finished. I can forgive everything, but I can't forgive betrayal. That's where I'm sitting at. Because when my brother here was talking about he can forgive everything, but when it comes to repetition, my friend, you have been, some have been learning in high school, repeating, and again you are coming to do trial and error in someone's life, in someone's feelings. It cannot work that way. That I'm coming, I'm trying, if I'm repeating it again, I'm trying. It cannot work that way. So according to me, there's those things that I can forgive. I can forgive actually everything that you do and all those. But when it comes to cheating,
that falls.
Cheating is part of betrayal. Okay. I can't forgive that one.
All right.
Unless I don't know. But if I know, nivo. Wacha tu tukutanie huko mbinguni.
But most of these things are just betrayal, really. So betrayal ni kila kitu in relationships. Yeah, no. Matthew.
When you're talking about betrayal, there's those extent. At which intensity does it carry, and what kind of the effects? Ama ni uzito gani nyinge kukost if that thing could come to ama inge happen into your life. There's those things that are minor. Umekula chakula yangu. Hiyo nitakusamehe. But those intense things to do with my Judith was talking about
Hilda.
Sorry. She was talking about when you come to the level whereby you are hurting someone like deeply kabisa, to the level whereby you assume as if you are not seeing their pain. You understand exactly what they are going through, but you try to unafumbia lile jicho la mamba. You behave as if you are not seeing whatever they are going through. So when it reached that level, this person is just equal to a murderer. They are there with you. You will sleep with them, you live with them in the same house, but they are equal to, they are more than witchcraft. They are equal to the devil. So when it comes to that level, that's where I'm saying about that I can forgive everything, but when it comes to betrayal, things that can cost you, can cost your life, can cost your destiny, can cost your future and your entire generation. That one, I can tell you, my brother, my sister, referan. Don't sit there, don't watch, don't pretend that we need to forgive 70 times 7. My friend, it will reach second time, you will be gone. And your generation will forget about you. And I concur with my senior, Ziwa, when he was saying that sometimes it's good to put yourself first. Sometimes it might be seen as selfishness, but every decision that you are making, it affects you directly, but affects the other party indirectly. So anything that affects you directly, you should put yourself in that sense that, is this thing good with me? Am I okay with this? Is my future secured when I make this and that decision? But at the same time, when he was talking about now, responding immediately when person tells you that umenikosea. it's not good. She said it's not good to respond immediately because the mouth that talks too much brings shame to the head. So sometimes I tend to defend myself, my decisions. I did this because of that or that, and that inflicts even more pain to the other part. So it's good to sit down because they took their time to sit down and reflect and see you did something wrong.
Yeah.
Take your time, sit down, reflect, and see. By the way, whatever I did to my colleague, to my workmate, to my lover, to my child, it's not a good thing. So I come to the level of consciousness and restate and say, by the way, this and this is what happened, and I did this and this because of this, but I really apologize, or I really take this and that.
So reflection, right?
Yeah,
I want
true.
us to hear from Emmanuel as well. Do you think men hold on to resentment so much that they do not forgive as much as women do?
Okay. Thank you so much. Let me delve into the topic of discussion. Sometimes forgiveness is of essence because it releases the negative energy within you. Maybe it may be anger within you, but that one doesn't mean that one doesn't mean that you just have to forgive several times. You must have a boundary or limit that may guarantee your safety. At some extent, even Jesus loved and he forgave several times, but it reached a point when he had to destroy those who are doing businesses in the church. That was beyond what he could tolerate. So sometimes maybe it may be gaslighting, or maybe someone has started physical assault. That one doesn't mean you are a man, you can just watch whatever, because he may come with a certain scenario or a certain way to finish you or to destroy you. So I think for a better relationship, it is built on fundamental of respect. That is sometimes love.
Hold it nicely. Yes.
Sometimes love do fade, but when you have respect, mutual respect towards one another, I think you must watch at the partner's lane. There's certain things you must watch. Don't surpass what maybe can ignite anger from your partner.
Sawa. We'll be asking the counselor, of course, to give us an expert opinion. But Regina, do you think we as women tunasameana virahisi when we now forgive men? Or do you think that men hold on to resentment so much as compared to how we do?
I think we take too much compared to men. Yes.
Okay.
Because you may find someone who is cheated on severely and they're still in the same relationship and not moving. But men don't necessarily stay in situations that don't serve them. Mostly, they know how to be selfish. And I think that's where we go wrong as women, because we keep on staying in situations that don't serve us, but we are hopeful that maybe one day a miracle might happen and they may change or whatever. That is the reason why we forgive too much, I guess, but it is to our own detriment because it hurts us more.
Yeah.
So yes, we forgive more than we actually should do.
Okay, we'll be coming back to that point that you've made, Regina. But Ziwa, do men and women, or how do men and women handle forgiveness differently in relationships?
Want first to react to forgive and forget. I think it's good to be honest. We readily forget what has happened in our lives when you're hurt. Let me give you a case in point. You know too well that every time I give my paycheck to my spouse, they spend it without letting me know until it's depleted completely. Or you give me your Visa card and I go spend the money on that account, which is meant to be our money, and I spend it, and every time I come back, there's no money. And I say, I'm sorry. Sweetheart, I'm sorry. You kiss me on the cheek and say, I am sorry. First time, second time, third time. You want to tell me you forgot the first time, the second time, the third time? No, you don't forget. It is incumbent on you to put a halt on it and say, hey, please stop that on my account. you have not forgotten. You're holding the person accountable to that effect. Don't allow certain things that is abuses that you can say no to perpetuate to the next level when you had an opportunity to say no to it, simply because you don't want to forget. Don't forget that part. If it's a child, you give him your Visa card. He goes and buys a PlayStation, he buys this and buys this, and every time he comes back, I say, Mom, I'm sorry. Second time, third time. You don't forget, you remember, but you hold a person accountable. Now, to go back to the place of forgiveness, I think women are very emotional people. Not that men were not emotional. We tend to think our thoughts than express them. Women express them. So what they do by talking about it, for us, we do by thinking about it. In this case, you find that a woman, while she talks about what she's going through, there's a flip side for her to think, I'm not thinking about the same thing she's thinking about because she talked about it and I didn't say anything about it. We just process things different. In that case, if I would encourage men, because their inability to talk has caused many men to have a lot of mental health problems and health problems. I was driving from Upper Hill, and from Upper Hill, I was going to K Road. I saw about 5 to 7 men, all with mental issues, sleeping in the middle of the road, crossing the road, very filthy, dirty. I didn't see a single woman. That was yesterday. And it struck me, and I told my wife, it's interesting how many men you find on the road who are like this and you hardly find a singular woman. Men need to talk. We avoid the need to be emotional and get into emotive experiences that engage us to be vulnerable. And that is costing us a lot in relationships. More so when it comes to spousal relationships, husband and wife kind of relationship, even work-related relationships. I encourage men, please get to a place to talk. And women, cultivate environments that encourage men to talk. If it's at home, find a way you work it out for the man to talk. Set him up. Serve him tea when he's tired. Give him jugu. Give him a remote to watch the TV, even when he's not watching anything. But in between, find a way, sneak close into that comfort experience and allow him to talk. Men need to talk and break away from the things that hurt them. Women, as much as they talk, they find therapy. It's therapeutic. When you break into conversation, you get to know people. If you don't know someone, all you need to do is allow them to talk. I always allow my wife to talk. I say, hi, baby. How have you been? How was your day? Are you okay? And often that's all I need to say. And she will talk. And women talk. And women do.
Find the same space as well?
I think it comes out differently for me. If I come home, the first thing I want is silence. I'm sure you're already seeing your father, isn't it? Because that's how men function. You walk into their house, silence. So it's important for the woman to tell the children to leave the sitting room. Not necessarily you don't want them in the sitting room, that is. Or there's a place where you want to have it as a cave, a sense of privacy. Sometimes I walk outside to the garden and just sit alone in the garden. All she needs to do is find a way she can enhance that experience for me. Bring me a mug of juice, get me some hot tea, and get me some snack to eat. And that way, it will provoke me to think my thoughts, but at the same time, bounce them off someone. And she becomes the very best ideal person to talk to. That's when I talk about my anxieties, which I don't want to talk about, because men, we don't talk about our fears. I have met young men and friends, and they don't talk. And you know this person is going through a whole lot, you know? And that experience, it's critical for you to find accountable relationships. It's in conversation you get to know people. Please find people you talk to as men. Young men, find someone you talk to. Don't keep these things to yourself. There's a gentleman, I'll speak about him in anonymity. He reached out to me the other day and he said, I'm sorry to reach out to you, but it's been a very tight experience in my life. I don't have food in my house. I've not had any work for lately, but I'm optimistic. It's been a dry period, dry spell. So he cuts grass, does landscaping.
Yeah.
So I don't have any work. Would you care to get me something? Now, at that moment, I was going through something. I just bought a couple of things that depleted me and made some bills that were very critical.
Yeah.
I didn't have any money. So I reached out to him. I said, please never feel embarrassed to call for help as a man. We all go through stuff that require someone to reach out for help.
Yeah.
All you need is just say, help. So I told him, as you're talking about your 7 shillings on your balance, me, I have 57. But don't worry, I'll find a way to help you. So I made a call to a friend and said, please wire money to this account. This person needs help. Then I connected to a couple of friends, men that I lead, and I told them, please find a way to wrap your hands around this young man. He needs help. The following day, I called him, find him in office. Then I picked him up, drove him to the supermarket, and I told him, pick whatever you need in your house. Stocked him up for the entire couple of months, at least to find a way to eat while he's looking for work. Then I called a couple of men and said, please, if you have anyone who needs a garden to be cut, grass to be cut, fences to be trimmed, there's a young man who needs help. Imagine if he did not talk, he will not get to access a stream of help that is around. You get it? And there are so many young men, so many men out there, because of their inability to talk.
Let us hear from them.
They are hurting.
Neston, would you say, is it easier for you to reach out for help from where you sit?
Not really. And even as we talk about forgiveness, I feel like for us men, when you forgive someone, probably one, you think that you're showing a weakness to them. And one of the things when women cheat on us, it becomes a very big barrier that the moment you're going to forgive them is when you get a rebound. So you're like, I need to get someone else to cheat the same way you did so that I can be able to be in a comfortable space. And now we can now start forgiving each other.
So you just stay in that toxic environment.
Yes, just stay in that toxic environment. And what that does, forgiveness doesn't happen. And forgiveness is such a big thing. And that's why you're talking about the power of forgiveness. Because in the previous times, when someone was supposed to be forgiven, elders used to come and used to be a ceremony and they have to even slaughter a goat. But now for us, we're taking forgiveness really casual. I can forgive you, but I tell you, I've forgiven and forget, but then the next time I'm gonna come and do the same thing. So and then it just becomes a cycle of you do something to me, I need to do it again to you. Then now it's just around now we create a very bad culture.
Thiranira, how about you? Is it easier for you to reach out for help from where you sit, especially if you're talking about, we are saying men don't talk? Is it easier from where you sit?
I think it stems from societal conditioning and expectations where the boy, from when he's at a young age, he's expected to, be strong, or men don't cry, men don't expose their weakness. It's considered weak. So that's why men tend to avoid talking, reaching out to people, opening up from time to time, because there is that aspect of weakness. Even with a number of women that I've personally interacted with, they will prefer men, who keep to themselves, who do not.
Tuambie wako wapi, tuende na viboko.
It's in anonymity, of
Judy
course.
agrees.
But yeah, they prefer strong men. So personally with me, I am open to being open, to reaching out, because I have been raised to understand that opening up is not weak.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think with that it's because I have been raised that way, and, and I have interacted with men around me who have encouraged me to do more of that.
Yeah.
So,
Amazing.
Strong.
Dennis, who is silencing the men?
You see, first things first, I believe we are changing even in our interactions.
Yeah.
You know, even as men right now, do we really have that set of other men that we can connect to? You know, we are actually becoming very solitary beings. In your whole contact, tell me who you can call. And right now, I think it's end month is still the effects of end month are still being felt. Tell me who you can call right now, minus the shenanigans of a party or anything, and just let's come together, let's do something. In your whole contact list, you have 300 people, maybe 60% of who are men. See, so we are growing very solitary lives, and this is actually coming up also as a result of technology. There is someone lied to us that social media and interactions that are virtual are same to physical interaction, simply because I spoke to him yesterday and I asked him, "Niaje poa?" I assume he is okay.
Yeah.
You see, people don't go to see each other anymore. So who is silencing us? First of all, I'd like to think it's technology.
Okay.
As technology is advancing, we are growing more solitary lives. And the more solitary lives we are growing, it's actually hard for me to now come, since I don't even talk to him, I don't even know how he's doing, how he's faring on. How am I supposed to come and tell him, "Hey, by the way, you know, something has happened on my end and I might need some form of assistance"? How? You see. Secondly, you find that we are our mentors.
Hold it well.
Oh, sorry. Secondly, we find that our mentors and the mentorship system that we are having right now is also virtual. You know, I believe some years back you used to have mentors who you would see in your home. That they react a certain way to certain things. So you kind of emulate that behavior. Right now, most people, their mentors are somewhere in X, telling them change or perish or other things, you know. So you find that in a bid to put their best foot forward, they don't show their weak sides simply because they don't know how to.
They don't know how to. They're not taught how to. All right. I want us to come to the comment that Regina made, and I said we'll come back to it. And she said, "Women, we forgive too much and hope that things will get better at some point." But I understand that that is some trauma bond theory. And it also suggests that some people keep forgiving toxic partners because of attachment issues. So how does one break from that cycle?
First of all, I had said earlier that we look at life from our limited perception and understanding. That stems from how we grew up, where we grew up, the environment we grew up in. Because as women, we tend to tolerate so much because I am a millennial. We were taught that as a woman, you must be able to learn to serve a man. So it boils down to what we were conditioned to think and believe that works. We were taught that if a man cheats, men are polygamous in nature. Persevere. That is why you'll find women tolerating and entertaining a lot of nonsense in their marriages and relationships. And it boils down to friendship. You will find a lot of women tag along friendships that no longer serve them. Because we were in high school together, I will want to hold on to her. We continue with that friendship. It no longer serves me. We do not add value to each other. We do not, like, there is nothing significant that is benefiting you in that relationship, but you will be able to stay there because we've been told to tolerate, to entertain, to vumilia, kaa hapo. Unajua watu wako the same, they are the same everywhere. It's not true. We need to be able to start unlearning some of the things that we've been taught. We need to relearn, and we need to keep learning new things. Because for me, I looked at my circle, like there's a time I was sick. I sat down and I looked at the list of the friends that I have and the people that were around me at that point in time. You have a contact list of 368 people, but you can only talk to 3. So hao watu wengine, what are they doing in your life? Really, nothing. So you keep those things there because you don't want to let go. You want to hold on to something that reminds you of your past. But we keep changing. Like the people that knew me 3 years ago, they can't say that they know me right now. I am a different person, and we keep changing every single time. So for me, what I usually say is, while you're teaching people to treat you, you must also learn to teach yourself the things that you can and cannot take. And you keep changing and accept yourself the way you are. Like every single day is a new experience. You meet new people, and life is so funny. We tap onto the energies of the people we stay around with. If I sit around someone that dresses some type of way, by default, it will rub off on you. You will start doing things a certain way because of the crowd that you keep. If you sit in a room where people gossip all the time, I can tell you for free, you will find yourself running your mouth for no reason. You will be listening to gossip and you will want to be doing that. Now, just using his example, if you're on X most of the time, you will find like a toxic trend going. People will be like, stay scary. They tell men that, stay scary. Like you need to make sure your woman fears you, your woman knows that you're a man.
Yeah.
But then again, so where do these men go to when everything boils up? Who do you talk to? Where do you find refuge? Can you find that someone to talk to? Because if you go there, you will be told you're a man. You should not be weak. What is this weakness? Is expressing your emotion a sign of weakness? Because when the world caves in on you, where is your outlet? You understand? So while we consume so many things, also ask yourself, does it serve me? Does it work for me? Because you're going to be a parent someday. You're going to mentor someone someday. What kind of a reflection do you want to see of yourself in that person?
So that is how we can now break from this cycle of trying
Yes.
to attach with this toxicity.
Yes. In fact, that spirit of detachment is very important. When something no longer serves you, imagine, tell yourself it's okay. I keep saying, as human beings, we are attached to material stuff. Right now, if every one of us, simu zetu zikichukuliwa for one day, there are people who will get sick. Because every single minute, ingia kwa matatu, ingia kwa Uber, hakuna kuongeleshana, someone is just like on their phone 24/7 unless you're working. If that phone is taken away, what kind of a relationship would you have with yourself and with other people? It becomes very difficult. So when you practice that, the spirit of detachment is you detach yourself from people, you detach yourself from material things, you will live a very peaceful life. Like you can exist anywhere.
Amazing. Ziwa, I hope Swahili is not a problem. Is it? Because you have a question here. And is it? Can I translate it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Ronnie is asking, there's a problem somewhere. Someone, you talk to someone and you're not in bad terms, okay? And then when you call them back again, and then you find that you're blocked. So that is Ronnie, and that is a concern that he has.
If the street lights are meant to be red, they are red. If it is green, it is green. Read the signal. Simple as that.
Yeah.
There's no need to have a false optimism. It might work out, it might not work out.
Yeah.
No. The handwriting is on the wall. Read it. It's loud and clear. I don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Check out. And say next.
Matthew, akona comment pale.
You know,
Let me read it again now. Anasema, hello, kuna shida. Ukimcall mtu na mnaongea bila kukosana, and then anakublock ukienda kumcall mabadaye.
hiyo ni hivyo. Sasa you should know your place in people's life.
Red is red.
No. When you see a rat running straight into the fire, you don't question it. You should be curious with what is chasing it. So this is a clear indication that my friend, my brother or my sister, hapa tunapimana. Is piki pongi. Tunapima rada. So there's no need about the same. I concur with my mentor here, Ziwa, that if the street lights are red, nibo red. So block means sit back and watch.
Yeah. All right.
Usinisumbue.
Okay, Kimani, do you believe that forgiving too quickly enables bad behavior?
Okay. One thing I believe is, as we've said, forgiveness doesn't come easy. As
Overnight.
Well, an honest apology does not come easy as well. So I think there's that time that needs to be taken.
Yeah.
Because you need first to analyze what really happened. So if it's a matter of it has happened right now, and we are so quick to apologizing and forgiving each other, personally, I feel like it's a matter of personal interest. I just want to be past that situation so that
Yeah.
I can continue doing what I was doing. But personally, I believe an honest apology and forgiveness does not come easy.
Yeah. Okay, Hilda, what do you have to say about it? Forgiveness, does it enable bad behavior? Forgiving too quickly, that is.
I concur.
Mhm. I feel like I knew what she was going to say. She already said the president.
Yes.
I concur because when you forgive too quickly, you give room to know that she'll definitely forgive me or he'll definitely forgive me. So I think once you are hurt and the other party realizes that he has done or she has done a mistake to you, I think you as a person who has been hurt, it's good for you to sit back and you relax. Like let him or let her feel that's what you are feeling. So that when you forgive, when you decide to forgive, he or she will never repeat the same because he or she will say that, hey, I don't want to experience that thing again. So that it becomes genuine. But if you forgive too quick, be sure you'll be hurt again.
So you are advocating for movies and scare.
Yeah, let it prolong for a little while so that the other party feels what you are feeling. So that when you forgive, it doesn't repeat it. Or if it comes back, it will take time. It will not be immediate. But don't forgive too quick. Don't.
Matthew?
You know, I'm much concerned about her because she's much focused on another party than herself. Yeah, she feels like I can forgive, too quickly, and maybe create room for other things, create room to move on with my life. But at the same time, let me hold on for a little bit longer so that the other party feels, what if I don't feel?
Yeah.
What if I don't care with what you're going through? Because if I can reach to the level whereby I cause you pain, I inflict pain into you, it costs you. So maybe me, I continue with my life, I'm okay. I have another person somewhere. I'm just enjoying my life, okay. Then you are sitting there, you're saying, let me try to prolong this process so that I feel the same way. What if I don't feel the same way?
I think she's speaking in the context of when now they're still in that relationship and this other party is trying to stay there and hope that things will get better as well.
It is all about me, not about another person.
Okay.
Yeah.
And good thing she's here. She's here to defend herself.
Yeah. In fact, on the flip side, really, is you don't overthink this issue of forgiveness and friendship. Let me tell you, build a wall around yourself that is so focused on you that you don't put so much energy on the other person. Because when you overthink, it becomes a burden for you. Just like learning the art of letting go, that really means you freeing yourself from that cycle. And the thing is, we attract who we are most of the time. So when you find yourself in a circle where people keep abusing you and betraying you most of the time, there's something about you that is attracting that. So you look inward before you look on the outward. And when you start thinking that I need to prolong this term of forgiving someone so that they can be able to feel or understand, or they need to know that forgiveness doesn't come easy, is you are entertaining them and you are building up on that energy. When someone does that to you, forgive very quickly and cut that boundary and cut that line. Let them go. Because then that means this is a person who does not value you. They do not value your feelings. Because I usually say, as friends, even when someone does something to you and they take ownership of that and they are accountable, then you can be able to respect that to some level. But if they don't do that, is you cut that friendship and move on to the next one. Because when you put too much thought into it, is you're building that energy on yourself and it will occupy so much of your mind and time that you will stop yourself from moving forward and focus on what this other person is doing to you. It's not worth energy.
You know, I've heard a couple of times that I will not forgive. I'll hold that grudge. You will heal in heaven.
Yes.
I think that's what is happening with Hilda. But I want to come to you, Regina, now at this point. I saw somewhere on X that the Gen Zs, that you people have a lower tolerance to toxic relationships. I see Neston here and a nod. Do you think this makes you people less forgiving? Gen Z, you people have a lower tolerance to toxic relationships. Like you do not tolerate that. So does that make you less forgiving?
Yes. And I actually think it's a good thing because when it comes to forgiveness, I think many people take forgiveness as a pathway to just get over things and move on quickly. Like there is no remorse. You just think forgive, I'm sorry, so that we can go to the next thing, so that you can stop being angry. And I think if someone apologizes and you don't feel like they're remorseful, and if it's a frequent recurring thing, then I think it's fair we don't tolerate toxicity.
Neston, you are nodding.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, not that we have like very low in terms of forgiving, but then we can't really tolerate nonsense. We are in a world that's moving very fast. So if you know you're coming into my life, come with a purpose, and the purpose should be you're in my life. And if you do something before I get to know of it, ensure you come and ask for forgiveness. Yeah, and I think that's probably where we're heading to, and even where we are at this point. That we guard yourself tenaciously. Like, you don't let people break your wall every time. So if even if it's something small and they stop on you and they're like, don't worry, it's a small thing. You're like, no. This is I don't want you to do this.
Nelson, I think I can just cut you short, because when you're saying that that world is moving so fast, that world is moving so fast, and we are so busy doing what? This is about relationship, and relationship. You cannot live on this world alone. So I think is what is happening with social media and what is happening with Gen Z about the same is that many of them have many options.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't care if this thing, something happens within this, they can reach out to another person. So it's not like our forefathers, whereby they had it's you, and we put our everything there. This person today, if I don't do this to her, if I mistreat her, tomorrow she'll go to another person,
So you
to
don't
another
put your
person.
eggs
So,
in one basket.
yeah, it's like seven people are around. They're doing everything, so she doesn't have any problem. You see, the fair bargaining leaves both parties going out smiling. So I think that's
Kimani had a comment as well. Kimani, you wanted to comment on that?
Well, I look at it on two different angles.
Okay.
So we are a generation that is very outspoken. And as he said, you're very quick to point out mistakes. But at the same time, we are also a generation that looks for perfect relationships without the understanding of we are not joined by perfection, but we are joined by the imperfections, but being ready to complement each other. So I guess the mix of both are looking for perfect relationships and being outspoken creates the aspect of when something little happens, I put it off.
Yeah.
So for me, that's my
That's
view.
your take.
Yes.
Sandra, you see, this same generation, Gen Zs, they say they've normalized ghosting and abandoning relationships. Why is that the case, Sandra? Gen Zs, mnapenda sana ku abandon relationships and to ghost as well. You see, it's a conversation that has been normalized sana on social media. When you go there, una scroll, unasikia mtu anasema ghost them, and you see they're advocating for these things. Why is that the case?
Okay, first I feel this ghosting relationships comes from peer pressure.
Okay.
You tend to find some people, like you see the online couples, wanna to peer pressure.
Okay.
Now you tend to admire this relationship, and then you see many of your friends are dating, and then you see for you yourself, you don't know what you really need in a person.
Yeah.
So you tend to go for someone just because of the looks and everything, but you don't really know what you need from them. Then afterwards, unakaa unaona haiwezi make, and then you don't know what you're going to tell them. You just don't know what to say to them, so you just end up ghosting them. Just to clear the air and have your inner peace. Ishe.
Emmanuel, is that a good thing? I would love to assume you're a Gen Z as well.
Thank you so much.
This ghosting and abandoning people without excuses, without closure. Lakini nimesema closure ni mbaya. But is this really a good thing?
Yeah, to be honest, it is really a disease that is really affecting our generation. Because, our generation is more exposed into social media and influencing. So, for example, most of our influencers out here are living fake life. And to be honest, we admire them, you see. And that one may be bring something that is controversial to our relationship.
Mm.
There's no relationship that is perfect. There's no relationship to be
Yeah.
perfect, to be honest.
Mm.
Yeah, for us as men, maybe what makes it to be worse, it is the society. When you don't have anything, then the society is against you. Yeah, so for you, even there's a say that men don't cry. You see, when you cry, maybe before the congregation or the people will now start, seeing as a weakness. They will not see it as forgiveness. The same society, when you don't have money, it seems you don't need any to have even relationship. Yeah, because how can you afford that relationship when you doesn't have money? So it makes a boy child to be in a severe condition. And for me to move from this syndrome of broke men,
Yeah.
we also need to at least to educate our boy child on how to live with the empowered girl child.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one I think will really help than advocating for gender equality and empowering girl child and leaving a man behind. You must also teach him on how to live with the empowered
So umesema
girl
men
child.
should not be called broke men.
Yeah.
Okay. Wamesikia hiyo. Hi. Now you see we've had a lot of comments here. Let me just start with you, Dennis, before I come to the experts, of course. Wanasema Kimani amesema they're looking for perfect relationships, and I know you're part of that generation as well. Perfect relationships, you people are normalizing ghosting, abandonment. What is the problem? Because I believe we cannot find perfect relationships. No one is perfect. Where do you stand?
First things first. I believe there's a problem in expression. If you've talked too much about Gen Zs, and I think let's talk about millennials a bit.
Okay.
About to attack you
No,
here,
let's start
seriously.
with the Gen Zs first. Why you people have normal? We will come. The millennials are here. And we will
I'm actually about to contrast something.
Okay.
When you guys were in school, there was a lot of expression. People used to express themselves, the letter writing, everything, where someone to come and really tell you what is going on. This person has put a lot of thought. This person has put a lot of thought and effort towards really making sure that situation kwa ground vile iko. In contrast, you find that nowadays really, but that is not the case nowadays. People are not really expressing themselves as much. That is one.
Nowadays.
Yes. People are not
I think you're
expressing.
contrasting with Kimani.
People
Okay.
are not really expressing themselves as much, where you find that I looked at him a certain way, she looked at me a certain way. Okay, to me vibe. You see? Or we start reading into things that are not there. That is one. Two, you find that as social media, as technology is advancing, we tend to model our lives based on the lives of those people who are called online influencers, and we forget that for them it's content. And two, life is not necessarily how we perceive it. Whatever motivates me to take a tripod and a stand and to lights to wheelie and tell whatever I want to tell, you may not know what motivates me, but the message is already out there. And I think people are free to people are free to react to it the way they will.
Yeah.
Without knowing the background of it. So you find that if someone believes that ghosting is, or the abandoning things venye ziko is good, it's good because it's what they've learned. They've not really seen people sitting down to try and, here's the issue. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So bado tena it comes back to peer pressure and what is happening on social media. Now, in today's societies, where mental health has been a major concern, should we be teaching now about forgiveness or self-protection? Because that also came up from the panelists.
It's critical that we place an emphasis on forgiveness. as much as oft time when forgiveness is looked at a reward for those who offend us or hurt us,
Yeah.
there's a great temptation to feel like I'm rewarding them. But the reality is, let's make a habit of having this permanent attitude, not a one-time action, a permanent attitude, always to live a life of forgiving. The reason why you would do so, they were talking and I was listening in closely and I was like, sure, they're all not married. Because if you're married, the script is different. Live a life of constantly forgiving easily and frequently. Easily and frequently. Because if you don't, you will not live with that significant other in your house. We hurt each other. That's the honest truth. The trouble is, we come and we always exhibit perfection, and there's no one who is perfect. Okay, if you sit like this, you bring your best foot forward. That's the truth. But would it be a shock for you that actually inside this shoe, my sock has a hole? Could be yours. It might be his. Oh, could it be so? And actually, my vest and my innerwear is torn all the way at the back, but you have no clue. Is it possible that when I get home, when I come from studio and I'm tired, or I'm going home, the first thing I do when I sit in my couch is remove my shoes and remove my socks. But my socks on a constant for the last several years I've been married. They stay in the chair. And that is a cause of pain for my wife. Why do you leave the socks in the chair? I don't even think twice about it. It's an unconscious conduct. So you can choose to be offended about it or forgive and get by with life. Pick them up and pick it off. Or just say, sweetheart, I am sorry. Learn to make a habit of saying I'm sorry. It's a simple word, but it places value on the person who hears it.
Yeah.
Take time and initiative to recalibrate your system and find out those relationships you've had along the way. Because if you do, there's a way you cure yourself. There's nothing as hard as self-condemnation, where you always constantly guilt yourself for bad choices and destiny choices you've done, and they've hurt people. Forgive yourself easily and frequently. It helps you to heal your mind, your will, and your emotions. And if you do so, begin with the family heart. Begin with your family. Your family, your mother, your dad, your uncle, your aunties, your nieces, your nephews, some kinfolk who are seemingly not that invested in your life and they should be invested in your life. Forgive easily and frequently and move on.
All right. Judy, you see now in today's cancel culture, it has normalized cutting people off without resolution. So how do we create a balance between accountability and forgiveness as we close?
First of all, we need to get to a place where we do not change who we are as a people based off of other people's choices and their actions and or inactions. You cannot stop being nice. You cannot stop being kind because someone hurt you, because someone did something bad to you. We need to be able to continue to be ourselves and be true to who we are as a people, regardless of everything that is happening around us, regardless of the external factors. I have experienced the cancel culture, so it's bittersweet for me because the thing about us as human beings, most often than not, we don't like being in a conflict a lot of times. So you will find someone either they choose to run away or they choose to ignore something altogether. But then the thing is, it boils down to you as a person. Are you accountable? Not just to yourself, but to the people around you. Do you take ownership? Because me, I am a big believer of apologizing when you're wrong. And sometimes apologizing it's very difficult. It is very, very difficult because people can be a lot condescending, but you never stop being nice and kind. Extend that apology. When you are wrong, even if you can't express it at that time, find a way to communicate it, because it goes a long way. And it's funny that we're having this conversation today. And last night I was having a conversation with a friend I hadn't spoken to in 2 years. And she told me something that really gave perception to this whole art of forgiveness. She told me that I hurt her by my silence. And I was like thinking, I didn't know. Why didn't you call me? And you know, we have a group of, we are 4 of us as friends. And so for her, I've been talking to the other friend. Sometimes we talk, sometimes they'll call to check on me, but I've not been talking to her. So she gets to know about how I'm doing through this other friend.
Okay.
So she was offended and she was like, Judy, you are full of it. Like she cursed a lot, and we talked for an hour. So I waited for her to express herself. And what that taught me is we do not realize how our actions and our inactions hurt the people around us. So give people the opportunity to communicate how they feel. And when I said I was sorry, she was taken aback because she didn't think I would apologize. And for me, the thing is, when you are wrong, you must be able to understand the other person's perception. Because I didn't know they were hurting by my silence. And I'm thinking to myself, you cannot just disappear from someone's life for a year or 2 and then just show up out of the blue and expect things to just, you know, continue like nothing happened. So acknowledging that, being accountable, taking accountability for your own actions and the things that you've done to the other person, it really goes a long way. So let's learn to listen, and also let's be able to extend grace to other people. When we have done wrong, listen to the other person. When someone tells you they are sorry, take their word for it. Because I usually say, if you tell me something, I'll believe what you're telling me, whether it's a lie or the truth.
All right.
I will figure it out. Uko mbele.
All right, thank you so much to my great panel here. But I want to read just one comment, if the director will allow me. And Alex says, my contribution to today's topic, the power of forgiveness in relationship. Ghosting is such an evil thing to do. It can break someone's esteem. Ghosting is only done by cowards who can't take responsibility and don't like to be held accountable. Thank you so much, Judy Gereshi, wellness advocate, and Richard Zimbalist, a counselor, as well as my panel here, Sandra Thiranira, Grace, Matthew Kimani, Regina, Hilda, Millicent, and Neston. Thank you so much for being here. We do appreciate your time. And that brings us to the end of Morning Cafe. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Anne Odida, and Fred and I will see you bright and early tomorrow. Good morning and enjoy the rest of your day.